Welcome, friends, to SoulNet Sessions on YouTube, where we connect in community.
And we talk about soulful conversations that are affecting us individually and in our communities.
So grab your coffee, pull up a chair, and let's dive in.
Welcome back to SoulNet Sessions. Oh my gosh, we're back in studio. And we are at Henry's. Again, there's going to be some changes with that coming up. So we'll keep you in the loop. But for now, we're here. Today, though, we're going to talk about Autumn Equinox. And we kind of teased it in the last episode because it happened last week, where the official change of the seasons happened. And we were, doing some rituals around change of season, as we do every season. It feels like a time of kind of bringing in and conserving what feels really good and healthy in this time, and then letting go of things that maybe don't feel helpful and nourishing at this time. So I thought I'd, join in conversation with you guys about what you guys think of this autumn transition and how you honored it with your rituals this season.
I actually grieved a little bit the loss of summer. Having been born and raised in Vancouver, my body knows the seasons well. And actually does, my body does love the autumn rain and the spring rain, and I love running in it and hiking in it, and just like that moisture in the Pacific Northwest rainforest. I love that. And I also lived close to, I think, 12, 15 years in California Bay Area, where my body got used to that as well, that kind of endless summer,
Yeah.
And then we lived in Costa Rica for a year. And so I think my body is, as going through menopause, likes that endless summer experience and appreciates and understands that it's also in the Pacific West Coast back here. So I noticed I did grieve a little bit the loss of I cool dip in the ocean with a group of friends in Point Roberts in the mornings. They go every day, 8 o'clock on weekdays, 9 a.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. And
through the summer and
winter,
all year?
We do it in the snow, we do it in the rain, 365 days a year. And most people go pretty consistently. There's I would say a core group of around 10 to 15. And then in the summer, it can go up to 25 and more.
Amazing.
And so that's kind of my ritual. Is I notice this changes of the season through the changes of temperature.
Can I just ask you too on that, the cold plunging? Because I know lots of people love it, and I don't love it, but when I do it, I feel so alive. But getting in and, doing it, I like doing it in the summer because it cools me down. But I think, so my point is, you guys do it all year round.
Yeah.
When you're transitioning from summer into fall and the temperatures outside are changing and the temperature of the water is changing, how does that feel?
The water changes. So the cold, in February, could get to 48 degrees Fahrenheit. And because I'm in the States, I don't remember what the thing is in Celsius. It's, and then it can get warm in the summer up to 62, 61. So the water temperature change is not too extreme. It's the air temperature and the surrounding. And I'll speak really quick on this. It's just that for women going through perimenopause and menopause, the extreme cold, ice baths, really aren't that great for us. And I know they're not great for me. But the ocean, for me, my body craves it. And it took me half a year to acclimate. So it took me time to actually enjoy and crave it. And I did it with an intention of staying within my window of tolerance, so that I don't put my body into sympathetic and cortisol stress response. And I've kind of found that sweet spot where it works for me. I don't think it's for everyone, and especially for midlife aged women, it's not for everyone. But if it does have you feel good.
Right.
Like
Well,
for
that's
me, it
such
took
an
a while.
interesting point.
Yeah.
I would also say, so Ayurveda would say that definitely not for certain doshas, especially a Vata dosha. That is probably one of the the worst
is
things
me.
that you can do. I mean, it has good research on how it brings down inflammation, but I feel like it's in that category of knowing thyself. And you can, if you're doing it in a safe dosage and a safe way for yourself, then maybe it can work for people that maybe normally it wouldn't. It's kind of like intermittent fasting. It's good for some people, not great for others. And so just autonomy of self, right?
Totally.
You've found a way to make it work for you. And it can be a really powerful tool for bringing down inflammation. And I agree with you. It's not great. There's a lot of things that in perimenopause are not good for us. Yeah.
What I noticed for me, plus I took my time doing it.
Yes,
so that I'm constantly in check with how's my edge of the zone of tolerance for me? How's my edge feeling? And so I wasn't abandoning myself. I was actually honoring myself by it feels good to be at this place of challenge. And anything beyond that, I wouldn't do. But then the next day I might, or the next week I might. So it was just it was like playing with myself and having fun with the appropriate challenge, which is what I teach in yoga all the time. Yeah. And my favorite part in terms of rituals is because we do it in the morning, I'm looking eastward towards the sun and I'm seeing the sun, and sometimes we don't see the sun if there's clouds, but there's sunlight, and seeing that come up, I feel like I'm coming home. I'm in the ocean. I'm looking out to the horizon. I'm in the water. I'm like, whoa, I'm being born literally every morning is what it feels like. And it's wow, and it just takes away all the other, I'm self-employed and a single parent to my growing kids, adulting kids. And there's so much pressure cooker in that, and still taking care of my mom and sandwich generation pressures. And when I do that ritual, it's 10 minutes of reprieve. And it's I'm coming back home to my life force energy.
That's amazing.
It feels
powerful.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And I was actually talking to a friend recently about, I just want to say, because it raises this really amazing point, I think. We were talking about allergies and people being allergic to things in nature, which can, deter, can become a barrier for people enjoying time in nature. And in this time of fall, whether in spring it can be pollens and all these things, right? And we were just having this really amazing conversation about that. But I think what we arrive at is that there's so many options. And so hearing you say that, because for some people it might not be the cold plunge, but it might be sitting, a morning sit spot at the beach and being with the sun. So really, again, that agency, knowing yourself, your body, what feels comfortable in your body, and then finding these little moments and rituals that really help you to feel connected to source. So thank you for that.
And I love that on that segue. If we can think about moving into the colder seasons too, that it could be the sun outside, or if you don't want to leave the house because it's cold and wet outside, lighting a candle, lighting a fire, using that as the flame of the sun. Yes. Those are great ways to bring you into that kind of meditative type state. And that's more warming going into those winter months.
Yeah, true.
Especially for the vatas.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I do this a sauna afterwards, not all the time, but when I can. Because in a contrast therapy has my body because vatas, since I am a very much vata.
And moving into vata time of life.
Yeah,
so this is end season.
Yeah.
This is
the contrast therapy really seems to regulate my nervous system and take me out of the fight flight.
Yeah.
And it really helps me to just come back home to my body, I notice. Yeah. Yeah.
So good. So Dee, what about you? What was your ritual this autumn equinox?
So I'd say that, from a ritual perspective, I don't think that they're anything elaborate. I love these ideas, and a lot of people are doing these amazing circles and gatherings for different things. I tend to be inward during the new moons, which is kind of the journey. And this particular equinox was right around a new moon eclipse. And so for me, this one was very much about journeying inward, reflecting on, like we did in our kind of last episode, a little bit about what the summer brought, where it was joyful, where it was not, where am I at, physically, how am I feeling? Do I have any imbalances that are showing up? Am I feeling some of that excess pitta that we can often carry into the next season? And so checking in physically, emotionally, how am I feeling? Do I feel like I'm, on track? So reflective work for me, not necessarily in an outward way, but very much internal. So I tend to clear my calendar where I can. I find it's really easy to just book dates that don't maybe honor some of these pieces of either the seasons or the cycles of the moons and the energies. And I'm learning, as I learn, both from a professional perspective, but also as a personal perspective, I try and honor these days a little more. So I clear the calendar, and that means can be a bit boredom. I think we did an episode on that, last year, the year before, around beautiful boredom, right?
Beautiful boredom.
And so I found myself on the day of the equinox actually a little bit bored and trying to just be with myself. So I did my writing, I do my meditation, I spend time in nature, I do yoga. They're very inward kind of pieces, and I did invite in some of that boredom. I definitely am a witch. So full moon or new moon, I clean, I sage. There's something, in the ritualistic of cleansing in these cycles, whether it's in water or, fire, smoke, and cleaning the space. I love that. So those are kind of the things that I do, not just with the change in seasons, but I try and visit them regularly through the moon cycles or any other auspicious date that might kind of come along or feel a resonance for me. So those are kind of where I've gone. And I think it's maybe a sign of, I don't want to say it's a sign of growth in the spiritual world where we need less of it from these outside events. And then we start to reconcile. I'll use an example. I went to an event just last weekend, actually, and it was supposed to be a sound bath and a planetarium. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to be underneath the stars and I'm going to be hearing the sound bath. Yeah. And it was kind of sold and marketed to me as a really, deeply spiritual event. Well, I got there and honestly, I felt like I was in a rave. I didn't stay. It was not the gentle planets that I was looking for. There was too much stimulus happening, not only in this big projections, but also in the sounds. And I had a hard time. I'm usually very good at dropping in.
Yeah.
And especially if it's got a frequency and a resonance to it, like throw some Vedic chanting my way. And I am there.
The one that the three of us went to was amazing.
Yes.
It really dropped in. It was
that was
simplistic and beautiful.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
Yeah. And shout out to your friend. She's a
Christina Michael, amazing.
She does sound bathing in Vancouver. And, to your point, we were in a studio with her.
Yeah. And intimate. And this
intimate.
So this was again soul, and I thought it was going to be this great experience, and it was not. And so I left because I was like, and what that actually offered me was that all of these practices that I've been slowly, putting into my life over the years. I have a meditation practice, as you guys know. I have, a morning sun salutation practice with chants that go with it. I also have one of my favorite ones. I do Tuesdays to celebrate. I have a bit of a debilitated Mars in my chart, just astrologically. And so Tuesdays, I do the Hanuman Chalisa. And Krishna Das has this version that even my son, he says, when you play it, he goes, you light up. I feel the energy and the joy come through from that. So this long story short of where I'm saying is that I have learned that, for me, ritual and these pieces are all about how I honor, not necessarily me being out in these
the journey inward.
Yeah.
I'm hearing also that you're discovering the magic in your quote unquote mundane, beautiful boredom, magical mundane, and what we were just talking about earlier with that long-term relationships as well, the longest term relationship is the one we have with ourselves. And when we find that magic and beautiful in the mundane and boring, it's because there's always something to explore inside with our connection.
Yes.
Always something.
Yes. Yes.
You know, there's just so much. There's a universe inside. And I just love how you, in your witchy way, the rituals and like we're just adding magic. Like even
oh my gosh, that's so autumn.
Washing dishes,
right?
Washing dishes could be a ritual. Like it's for
Absolutely.
cleansing, you know. And the way I greet the sun, whether it's in the ocean or in what I used to do at my aunt's manege, the stables, I was the one who made the fire in the mornings to warm up the stables. Like that's an amazing ritual.
Yeah, exactly.
Of the coming fall. You know, we need to create warmth. Okay, make kindling, choop choop choop, make the kindling small, and then every morning light the stove.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking about that too earlier when you guys were talking about fire, and I was thinking about like the sun and also I was thinking that, you know, I just want to offer this as well. Like a lot of people, at least, you know, what I'm noticing when I'm, you know, out in the world is like people going to candles and things that are not real. And like fireplaces that are, you know, we don't burn wood. And there's a safety and there's a, you know, there's lots of reasons for that. But I would say that there's some magic in if you can do, you know, the real like flame and warmth and feel it and smell it and be with it. It's deeply connecting to, you know, the earth, to ancestral pieces.
Yes.
Like you just feel in your bones something.
Primal element.
It's a primal element.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes we lose some of these things and we get so consumed with the outside and the external and what's happening and what's new.
Yeah.
That going back to the basics is sometimes, you know, I don't know, for me anyway, just feels very natural and connected.
Well, and I also feel sometimes and what we get sold on commercially are not always the experience that we actually need to. And I'm not, and for some people that might be really exactly what they need. This is starting on the path. And then for others, it might not be. And that's a really hard piece because wellness and spirituality, everyone's trying to sell us something that's going to make us feel good. But again, it's not always what makes you feel good doesn't necessarily make me feel good and vice versa. So we really have to find where that resonates. And when we're looking for ritual, really tapping into that kind of felt sense. So when you do something, whether it's as simple as cleaning your house on the day of the moon, or anything else, like check in. How did that feel for you? Or when you go to a big, you know, grandiose event and you're like, you're getting that ick or that constriction feeling, like, notice that because that's not your place. That's not your tribe. That's not your ritual.
Right. That's not your ritual. That's right.
Right? Like you've got something else out there that's going to feel so aligned and attuned to who you are.
Yeah.
So I think that's the seeker's path too, right? I mean, we all are. We're seeking something here. And so keep going until you find your piece.
I love that. Like it just it has me remember that it's not the event, it's us checking in inside and seeing if the connection is there.
Yes.
Because when you said a big event, I remember our grad year, like when we graduated, by the way, 35-year anniversary.
I know, crazy.
When we graduated, I think I told you the story of how
35 years since we graduated high school. People, this is crazy.
I think I told you guys a story of how a bunch of us went in a what did we hire? A Winnebago van,
Like an RV?
An RV. Yeah, we rented an RV and drove to Eugene, Oregon for a Grateful Dead concert. And like I have never felt so connected as I did at 17 years old with a crowd of thousands of people, where I was seeing like things for the first time as a young, naive 17-year-old. I was like, oh, there's naked people here. And I felt so connected.
They were dancing naked. Oh my God, in the gorge, at the gorge.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much.
And I know they were there too, right?
And that was connection. And now, and you know what I just did last month? I'll share with you guys. I bought my cemetery plot in Point Roberts. And that was an incredible ritual for me. It was so like beautiful is the best way I can describe it. I chose it. my kids, like I showed them it to them, and it's just so simple and so beautiful.
My
And it's so like,
God. Like your final resting
my
place?
final resting
Yeah.
place. I
Of this anyhow,
of
this
this
physical
meat
form.
suit.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just as connected as 17-year-old me that was in the stadium of thousands of people. So it's not the event, it's the internal connection.
It reminds us of what Meg and I were sharing on our joys of the summer months and then some of the pain. This reminds me a little bit of that, right? Like it sounds really weird to find joy in your place of death.
And that's what I was telling my partner. I was telling Dario, I was like, I have so much joy for this. He's like, you're weird. but he got it. He actually really got it.
Yeah.
He was like, don't expect me to do that. It's not my thing. But he totally got how excited I was to choose my final rest. It just felt so good.
Is it
Like
like
honoring
safety
and
for you?
honoring.
Is it like, or is it?
It's a great question. It gives me a place of certainty in the uncertainty of death. I know where I'm going.
Oh, interesting.
I'm creating my own ritual, which is,
Yeah.
really important to me. I'm doing it in my own way.
Yeah.
Like leaving 16 in the lifeboat. It's like, oh, I'm choosing how this goes.
And also the place.
I love that
So
place.
you're so happy at your place in Point Roberts.
Yeah.
You talked just this earlier about the sunrise and you being connected to source. So just to know that that's where you've chosen. Wow, that is, I wouldn't even think to do that.
Have you thought about your death? Have you thought about what you want to do?
I don't know. I was like, but I might now think about where my final resting place would be. Right?
I don't know where I'm resting, but I do know I would like to be a tree. That's the intention. So they do now these ceremonies where they bury you with a seed.
I've seen them, yeah.
And I will
amazing.
grow. I told Anthony he can put me wherever he wants if he has a house
What
somewhere
kind of
at some
tree?
point.
What kind of tree?
Something that offers shade and respite. I think, I mean, it depends on the size of where I end up.
Right.
Even maybe I love a good willow with the hanging branches.
Yeah.
So, but that's my dying wish. I'm like, just earth to earth, right? Like,
It's
return me.
Incredible. We might have to do an episode on these death rituals.
One of my colleagues just became a death doula, and I'm noticing that there are many more death doulas available now. Like it's becoming more, I would say, common practice and accepted in popular culture, I guess, or mainstream. Let's call it mainstream. It's like a concept that is more embraced now,
Right.
which I'm so glad for.
Yes.
Isn't that
Isn't
that interesting too? Because we have, Made on Offer, which is assisted dying, and that's growing more and more and going into mental health now as well as just physical disease.
Yeah.
And isn't that interesting when we're talking about ritual today? Because that speaks to me as the choice that you make when you're leaving. You get to create the ritual of how you leave this world.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right,
totally.
exactly.
Who you're with, what
Yep.
you're doing,
Who you're with,
and then where you're going.
how you go. How you go, where you go. Like that's so that agency. I know. And it goes back to that intention and the choice of making. So at whether it's changing of the seasons and letting things die off, letting go of things that don't feel aligned with you anymore. These are rituals we do, during seasons. We can have rituals every day. But this is like a big one.
It's the final one.
It's the final one.
And I'm careful to check in. Like, is this control or is this like, what is it? And it's not control, because when I'm gone, first of all, I won't care, and kids can do whatever they want. Like I'm just giving them options and choices, and here's things that are available. It just was pure joy of just like, this is fun. Like it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be,
I know you.
Dr. Death in her true form.
I was literally just gonna say the same thing. Like Eileena has always been since day one, like the one who's like curious about death and the shadow work, and we call her Dr. Death. And I'm like, we just are having another full circle moment because this is like legit. This is legit. Dr. Death finding joy in picking her final resting place.
Oh no, this is so funny. This is what I'll be known for.
Yes, this is your legacy. Oh my God, joy can look different for everybody. It's a different experience for everyone.
Meg, you have not shared how you honor ritual for the season, so I would love to hear.
Okay, I'll be fast. I'll be quick because I actually brought something. Now that we're on YouTube and we're in video, I thought I would bring it and show you guys. I have this cute little travel tarot deck, and it's called White Sage Tarot. And you know what? I was really, this season on the equinox, I was feeling the energy and I was feeling the shifts. And I remember that day, like September is always crazy busy and it's just like nutty. And I'm always like running around and my head is in all the things. And I was like, I didn't make time for anything. So later in the day, I was like,
you didn't make time for you.
I didn't make time for me.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't make time for me. And I was thinking of it all throughout the day and all of the things. And then my girlfriend, Christy, we always pull tarots on equinox and change of seasons, and we kind of share them, like take a photo and share them with each other. And so she did that. And then I was like, oh, thank you. I'm going to do that when I get home. So I did. And I pulled this card and I was like, I'm going to read it because it was the end of the day. And I had the cards on my with my crystals charging all day. And then I spread them out on the floor. And then one was calling to me and I pulled it and it was the Empress, which is on the artwork is the seal with the crown. So I thought that was really interesting. And then I read it. I read about what it means and what it symbolizes. And it symbolizes strong feminine energy and emotional balance, which is exactly what we talked about on the pod last time. And the time before that, we were talking about divine feminine energy. The Empress taps into the subtle yet strong power of the divine feminine, connected to both earth and water elements, which we've talked about today.
Yeah.
The Empress is at home anywhere she can express herself. So you find it in your plunging and watching the sunrise, and you found it too. You spoke about being in your own space and really honoring yourself within and like not doing, but just being.
Being bored.
Being with
beautiful mundane.
Yeah, with the magical mundane. And I think that's exactly what I gathered from my ritual was just to spend time this season honoring self and soul self and shedding whatever outside of me feels like it's taking. It's taking from me, whether it's taking my energy, my joy. I want to be with myself and with those around me that feed into my intuitive nature, which means I people that, my mom sometimes, I've talked about it. She can be like, with all due respect, because she's not well, but I'm writing about it in my memoir, like this idea that, when she was ill, like mentally unwell, there was a lot of taking of my time and my energy. And I created boundaries with her and I did that. And I think now the media and some of the narratives feel like they're also taking my time and my energy.
And
so
attention.
Where I choose to spend my time and energy is what I'm focused on for this autumn season.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Lovely. So I don't know if any of that really makes sense, but the witch in me says it makes perfect sense to me.
Well, and I feel like they're all perfect examples of, again, nobody can define what they are for each of us. We have to find them kind of within ourselves.
Yes.
And there's no right or wrong.
There's no right or wrong. And I think just making time to, maybe honor that the seasonal changes and pulling a tarot card or lighting a candle or going to the sun or the plunge.
Connection rituals and attunement rituals.
Yeah.
Whatever they are.
Whatever
There's
they are.
There's a kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
There is. And there's so many resources and,
Yeah.
have fun with it.
Absolutely. That's the
fun
most
with
important
it.
part.
So with that,
Yeah, SoulNet listeners. So I think, our next episode, we're coming up towards Thanksgiving, at a time of, gratitude. So I think we'll talk on our next episode a little bit about, ceremony in community, even though I shared that a lot of my journey is kind of inward. This is an offering of ceremony and community. And so maybe we can explore a little bit of those ways that we, find community and gratitude during the season as well.
Love it.
Grateful for us all being together here in our little sacred spot.
It's so good.
Until next time.
Until next time, SoulNet. Hopefully we'll see you back here. And then if not, maybe we'll be in a different studio space. But regardless, we hope you join us. Bye for now.